Hello class, so we're going to be looking at some differential equations. Let's get started together. This is a question from year 1997, number 6. So let v of t be the velocity, as you can see here. Now, velocity has been expressed as just a differential equation. In this case, technically, this should have been dv dt. Or rather, I guess I can say ds dt. Now, that's given in this way. I guess dv dt would be better. Now, this will be the initial condition. So, A is we want to find out V in terms of T. So what are we going to do? First, we're going to be looking at this one as dV dt is equal to negative 2V minus 32. First step, what we have to do is we need to express this one in this, we need to separate the variables. But if you have to rewrite this one, I can rewrite it as negative 2 V plus 16. So therefore, by cross multiplication, we get to realize that dv over v plus 16 has to be equal to negative 2 dt. Now, then when you take the integral of each side, you will realize that this becomes ln of v plus 16. Notice that I put the absolute value on the left side will be equal to negative 2t plus c. Now, by raising both sides by e, we get to realize e to the ln of v plus 16 will be equal to e to the negative 2t plus c. You see, plus c on the exponent can be expressed as c as coefficient. Obviously, this c is not the same as this c. I could even call this one just c sub 1, while this is c sub 2 if you wanted to. E negative 2t. That's what we end up getting. Then these two, e and ln, we can say, I guess they can cancel each other out. We end up having absolute value of that. Then we end up getting absolute value of v plus 16 is equal to c times e to the negative 2t. Now, when we can technically take out the absolute value because that only difference will be whether c can be positive or negative. But since we do not know what c value is, so we can express this one as v plus 16 is equal to c times e to the negative 2t. Now, by adding 16 from each side, or subtracting 16, we have v is equal to c times e to the negative 2t minus 16. And we realized that when t was equal to 0, v was equal to negative 50. That means here, negative 50 will be given c times e to the negative 2 times 0 when t was equal to 0 minus 16. Of course, e to the 0 becomes 1. Therefore, c becomes negative 34. So our final answer becomes v of t is equal to negative 34 e to the negative 2t minus 16. That becomes our final answer. Now, B. Terminal velocity is defined as a limit as t approaches infinity. Now, find the terminal velocity of the Skydiver to the nearest foot per second. So here we have, as t approaches infinity, then we are looking at, let's try to look into part B here. Limit of v of t as t approaches infinity. Then here we have, if I were to rewrite the expression, negative exponent implies that that part of the expression can go to the denominator. So we have negative 34 over e to the 2t and minus 16. Now, but as t approaches infinity, denominator will be very, very large number, which brings the first expression approaching 0. So therefore, our final answer would have been negative 16. Now, they told us to the nearest foot per second, and I believe everything was foot per second anyway, to begin with, in here, feet per second. So therefore, the answer would be negative 16 feet per second. All right, let's talk about part C. It is safe to land when the airspeed is 20 feet per second. At what time t does she reach this speed? So basically we have to realize that that has to be equal to 20. Then in this case the sign represents the direction. So one thing that which we can do is 20 is equal to negative 34 e to the negative 2t minus 16. But as we mentioned earlier, since 2 is the coming down, we can put negative to put the concept of coming down. So then when we add 16 to each side, we get to realize that negative 4 is equal to negative 34 e to the negative 2t. Now by dividing by negative 34, this will now be 2 over 17 equals e to the negative 2t. To get rid of e, we can bring both sides by ln. Then we get to realize that ln of 2 over 17 will be equal to negative 2t. Then all we have to do is divide by negative 2, then t is equal to negative ln of 2 over 17 whole thing divided by 2. Now, what is that equal to? Negative implies the reciprocal of the fractions. So we end up getting ln of 17 over 2 over 2. Now, this is same as 1/2, but when you bring up the 1/2 to the expression, we will end up getting ln of square root of 17 over 2. That becomes our final answer. All right, let us look at the next question. Here we have, I'm going to try to redo it by erasing everything here. All right, so let's get started. Let f be the function where this is the initial condition, f of 1 equals 4. Now slope is given by in this way, so we can rewrite as dy over dx will be equal to 3x squared plus 1 over 2y. Now, find the slope of the graph of f at the point where x equals 1. Now, in order for us to do a, slope means simply we are looking at f prime when x equals 1. Now, what does that mean? That means we need to put 1 in place of x, but what is the value of y? That's right, y can be 4 from the given condition. So we have 3 times 1 squared plus 1 over 2 times 4. Now here we have 4 over 8, which ends up being 1/2. 1/2 is the slope. Write an equation for the line tangent to the graph of f at x equals 1. Now then part B, since we know the slope and we know the point 1 comma 4, then we should be able to find the equation of line tangent to that. So we end up getting y minus 4 by the point slope form 1/2 times x minus 1. That's what we end up getting. But using this equation, they want us to approximate 1.2. How are we going to do it? Since this can be rewritten as y equals 1/2 x minus 1 plus 4, and in place of x we can plug in 1.2. Then y equals 1/2 times 1.2 minus 1 plus 4. Then you will realize that this will be equal to 4.1. That becomes our answer for part B. Let's go for part C. Find f of x. Now, how are we going to do it? Once again, by separating the variables first. So here we have, when you cross multiply them, we get 2y dy is equal to 3x squared plus 1 times dx. Once again, we can integrate both sides since they are equal expression. So here we have y squared must be equal to x cubed plus x. But don't forget we have plus c over there. Now, then, y will be equal to, it can be plus or minus. We have no idea what it is. And then x cubed plus x plus c. Since we know that 1 was equal to 4. So once you plug in 1 in place of x, and then we should be able to get 4, then we know that the expression has to be positive. So we have 4 equals 1 cubed plus 1 plus c. Since inside has to be equal to 16, we get to realize that c will be equal to 14. So therefore, our final answer is y equals square root of x cubed plus x plus 14. That becomes our answer. Now, part D, use the solution from part C to find 1.2. So when you plug in 1.2 in place of x, 1.2 to the third power plus 1.2 plus 14. Now we can try to do this one with the calculator. Now, once you have done this one with the calculator, let's see. Taking out the calculator right now, just be patient with us. So square root of 1.2 to the third power plus 1.2 plus 14. Then we get to realize that the value was 4.11. And this value is very close to our guess earlier. All right, that's it. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.